Welcome to the Kee To Growth Podcast, Home Services Marketing Unlocked, with me, your host, Jen McKee. Every week, I sit down with top marketers in the trades, from the brains behind $100 million companies to those scaling from 1 to 3, even to 10 million, breaking down exactly how they got where they are and uncover the secret to their success. If you're ready to grow your business and get real, actionable insights, you're in the right place. Let's unlock the key to your marketing success starting now.
Key Marketing specializes in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to build your brand awareness or drive leads using social media ads. If you're ready to elevate your social media, go to keyheartmarketing.com or follow us on social media. Welcome back, everyone, to the Kee To Growth Podcast. I am your host, Jen McKee, and today I am super excited about our guest. Actually, he was one of the speakers at our recent The Growth Experience conference, did an incredible job, someone I'm so grateful to have met in this conference journey. Today, I have Bill Rossell. Bill, if people are not familiar with you, can you tell them a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, I'm the CEO of LB Capital and a little movement we call Build It to Sell It, responsible for dealing with all of the day-to-day with all these different companies that we have under the LB Capital brand. We have 8 roofing companies across the nation that we help build, scale, and then take to a bigger level and help our partners grow. And then we also have very similar to what you've done. We built a little conference out called Build It to Sell It. And, we're helping people in the business because, both Lance and myself and Joe Lynn and our team come from a digital marketing background. So, we've transcended into the trades from what we did in marketing to the trades to now being involved in growing and scaling our $125 million organization, which is in a very short period of time in the last 3 years. So it's been pretty exciting.
I love that. So before you decide to turn this off because you never want to sell your company, I always think that there's so much to learn from building a business that is able to sell because you are profitable, your EBITDA makes sense for somebody to purchase it, so you have a healthy company. So I'm curious, I want to start off by asking, do you believe then that every trades company is a marketing company that just offers a trades service? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that view?
Yeah. So the long and short of it is that we believe, okay, that we are a sales and technology company that sells roofing as well as a recruiting platform. Because without great recruiting, we can't grow to the levels that we want to deliver for our partners across. And I had a conversation earlier today, and somebody's like, "Well, really, what's your job description? Like, what are your goals?" And I said, "I got 3 goals, okay, that I'm tasked with, and they're really simple, okay? Number 1, run profitable P&Ls,
Mhm.
okay? Number 2, grow revenue year over year, and number 3 is create a winning culture. If I
Yeah.
do those 3 things, we're pretty successful at what we've accomplished so far. So, we've continued to grow. We've had a lot of really great successes in a little short period of time. I've been involved now for 3 years with the organization. I worked with Lance for 24 years, and Joe Lynn for 18 in 3 different companies. But it's been great. And it's you don't wake up and say, "Hey, I have to go to work." It's like there's something always exciting going on in what we do.
I love that. Okay, so for anyone that's listening, if your goals are to have a profitable P&L, to grow revenue, and create a winning culture, that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think that is aligned with any business owner or marketing person. That's what ultimately we all want, right? So, um, one thing I think is really unique about your perspective is that you actually came from a long marketing background.
Yeah, long generally will mean seasoned. I don't wanna say anything other than that.
I just mean,
But
okay, deep marketing background.
yes, I started selling print yellow pages in the early 2000s, and then I transitioned to selling superpages.com, then I went to yellowpages.com. And then there was this kind of revolution in, 2008, 2009 and SEO and PPC and, social media came onto the background. And so then, in 2009, we formulated, I wasn't a part at that point in time. I came on like 3 years later at One SEO, and we were a full service digital agency, design, development, SEO, PPC. And, we worked very regionally for a long period of time with clients in the Philly metro area. And the big change for us was, going through as congratulations to you, the Next Star partnership.
Oh, yeah.
And that was that was really the game changer for our organization. And I personally took a heavy stake in owning that relationship and, in 2017, working with Susan Kimball and getting through that vetting process and really getting to meet what I believed, the creme de la creme of, heating and air conditioning contractors at the time. And, having the opportunity to meet guys like, Dustin Van Orman and, Wyatt Hepworth at Any Hour, and working with guys like Mike Wilson, that really just truly embraced how do we market to the homeowner. And they were very generous and opening their shops to the way that they did things, and meeting guys like Kami Mello, and just Tom Howard, Ishmael Valdez, like, these like legends of the space. And they just had an abundance mindset that allowed us to go in and see what they were doing, how we could do it better, how we could bring that to our clients. And so, I sat on the Jen McKee side of the fence for a long period of time. And, now I sit on the other, but I still champion to what the marketing agency really has, to be able to deliver, value to their contractors. And I think that one of the things that was really insightful, inspiring for me was when, seeing at your conference and the way that people reacted to you, your team, and what you put together. So I compliment you for building that perspective.
I appreciate that. We are grateful that some of the feedback that we've gotten from people is like, it's clear that you actually care and weren't just trying to sell us something, because marketing companies have such a bad reputation. I mean, I'm going to be super naive and say, I don't know why, because I meet so many incredible marketers all the time. And I like to believe that people are honest and authentic, but I guess not everybody is.
Not to take this back to your show for a second, but literally though, you look at the lineup
Mhm.
of people that you brought to that particular event. Sometimes you're going to look and you're going to say, man, it's going to be challenging to top the lineup in year 2.
Right.
Because I mean, look at Stephanie Allen running the show.
I know.
You know, she did such a great job. And then,
And
people
Catherine
like
just blew everybody away.
everybody, Jason Walker. I mean,
Yeah.
you just go down the line. It was really a key. And for a first show that you put together, you had the who's who there.
Yeah,
I mean, I was on
appreciate
stage,
that.
so no, it had
I
to be
know,
me.
it was good. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being there. I wanna go back to it. So you talked about, like, marketing agencies need to deliver value. So having a marketing background, I'm curious now. So you have, what did you say? You have 8 roofing companies?
8 roofing companies doing over 125 million a year.
So that means I know maybe some of them have internal marketing people, but I'm sure you're still working with vendors. So what are some of the things that you guys are using as like your baseline, or that you're making sure that your companies are doing to work with the best partners and get the most out of their marketing?
Well, I think that anything in life, it really comes down to 3 things, that, the communication level that you have and what you put in and input to your agency partner is what you're gonna be at the output. And so oftentimes, when I was on the other side of the fence, I would see that somebody would be like, "Okay, I signed up with you. Now you do it."
Yeah.
Well, how do I know, like, what's going on to be able to deliver if I'm not working with you to be able to deliver that message across the board of what we're trying to accomplish? It's not a set it and forget it.
Right.
Partnership partnership goes both ways. And I have to be able to understand that the delivering for us is just as important as far as what I'm giving the agency partners that we work with to be able to help them put an output together that really, really works in helping what we're doing from, a social media standpoint. Like, if I don't give great content, I can't create great content.
Mhm.
And so often, we really look at the agency partner level to say we have a responsibility to work with them to allow them to be successful. There's not bad agencies. There's bad input and gets bad output.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I said this on stage, and I say it regularly, is sometimes you got to point the thumb versus pointing the finger if something
Mhm.
isn't working. What's the root cause of it? You
Yeah.
know, I do recommend that, that you look at what the agency like McKee, look at their clients and what they say about the the partnership to put them in a situation to be successful. If it doesn't work, is it you or them? And sometimes you have to understand that it's not always your agency partner that's not
Mhm.
helping. It's you're not helping yourself to maximize what you can get out of the
Yeah.
agency.
It makes me think of like, so there's one thing I say a lot that is that like once you invest your money, you usually have to invest your time a little bit too. And that isn't always the case. Like sometimes we can, but somebody does, like if you invest in a nutrition coach, like you still have to be the one that's like making the decisions on what you eat. If you invest in a gym, you still have to drive yourself over there and make it happen. And you can maybe pay more and get higher levels of accountability, but if you invest in any sort of partnership, even the Next Star partnership, I'm going to get way more out of it by then connecting with their coaches and attending their events and doing the extra things that they ask me for. So sometimes that the partnership is just, well, usually it's just the beginning, right? Like there's still so much more that you have to put into it. And so I think that you're right. That it is a lot of times a lack of collaboration, and it could be on either side, right? I mean, maybe the marketing agency doesn't have great systems in place for that collaboration either. I think you could look both ways, but that's something I would always do to
I
begin
mean,
with.
think about it this, man, and this would be one of the frustrating things that I would have when I was on the digital side, is that I I would have a meeting scheduled, and then the customer would blow off the meeting, and I
Yeah,
would
all
be
the
like
time.
I would be like, "Well, isn't this important to you?" "Oh," and then what I would do is I'd recap and say, "Hey, listen, can we get this on the schedule at another time so that we can have that follow-up?"
Mhm,
And they wouldn't be invested into. I knew that the relationship was gonna go south once 1 meeting to 2 meetings to 3 meetings, because it would always come back to my fault that it wasn't working because they weren't investing
mhm,
into the success of the organization. I mean, listen, there's natural churn
mhm,
in what we do, whether it be on the roofing side, the HVAC side, the digital marketing side. There's natural churn that happens. Where the great ones come about is being in a situation that they don't allow the non-investment on both sides to take
mhm,
place. And so we
mhm,
strive really hard, and we strived really hard in all our organizations to say, "Hey, listen, if something comes up, we're not gonna wait till our next meeting. We're gonna schedule a meeting to
mhm.
make it help be successful so that we always have investment on both sides of the coin."
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're struggling on with any of your marketing vendors, not take a look at the last time that you guys had a meeting, what things were brought up there, and that could really be a great place to start. I want to shift a little bit because you said
Yeah.
like your goals are a healthy P&L, so bringing profit to the bottom line and also driving new revenue. So those are two different things. But with these 8 companies, what are do they all have the same marketing? What is it?
Playbook?
Budget? Like, do they all have the same
No, no,
marketing
no, everyone
budget? And are they all
yeah.
doing the same things? I mean, every market's a little bit different, and then they're all coming to you with like a different customer base and a different personality.
Yeah, it's a great question. What we've tried to do is to establish a playbook that works very well for us, and depending upon where the revenue level is, to the partnership, and where the length of time that partner has been with us. We sold in December of 24. We sold Munn's Roofing and Siding for about $36 million.
Wow. Awesome.
So, yeah, and that was in 18 months. And we took that business from zero revenue to that $36 million evaluation and exit by having a really good strategic plan. And that plan had different perspectives along the path. It's like, I see a lot of businesses that will say, "Oh, well, I'm going to try to run PPC."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Well, what's your revenue?" And they're like, "Oh, I got a revenue mix of, 300,000." Well, you're not going to be able to compete with me who's doing
Right.
20 million. And
Mhm.
so you have to understand where that perspective is of things to work the right way and the wrong way based upon where you are. Because when we partner with a company, we're more than likely going through a rebrand at some point in
Mhm.
time. We're not changing names, but we would go through potentially a rebrand because we've kind of seen what the PE companies have wanted as far as from building a sustainable business. And then what we also look to do is to say, okay, well, we don't want to change names because that GMB and all those reviews are
Right.
so relevant to where the customer growth is. So we'll be heavy lead aggregators on the first up to about probably anywhere between 6 to 700,000 a month as far as from a revenue standpoint. And
Mhm.
then we'll start to do things where we'll introduce social paid organic out of the gate so that we can make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do. Then we'll evaluate our long-term SEO strategy and AEO strategy. And then what we'll look to do as well, because we have to put sales into the bucket to get it off the
Mhm.
ground, okay? Because most of the companies that we're doing are anywhere from 2 to 4 million in revenue when we partner with them. Our goal is to say, "Hey, how fast can we get you to that 20 million mark?" And not that we're looking on the revenue top line because what we're doing is just of a heavy amount of drop back in as far as the profit we're making to growing the business through marketing. It's funny is I'll sit down with Lance and we'll do a P&L review and, I'll look at it and he'll, be like, "Hey, your marketing mix is 8.5% total top line revenue." And he'll be like, "There's no badge of honor of not hitting your budget." And I will be like, "You're right. There is none. I should have illustrated to put more money back into the business because that means our growth is going that much faster." So a
Mhm.
lot of what we try to do is that we're going to want to be around that 10% to drive to what the revenue number is, both on the sales estimate as well as the completed revenue tapes.
Okay. So you talked about the importance of a rebrand. I think that's really interesting. I know some other like groups like what y'all are doing that don't focus on rebrand. So I do think that that's a very interesting uh thing, and what we see is that companies that have strong brands I think we know the difference, right? The companies with the strong brands, their impressions are higher, their reach is higher, their cost per lead goes down, just on the social side. And so I know that that is similar across everything because you turn the brand into something that sticks in people's heads, and so you ultimately it's just like it all across the board. It's going to drive down your marketing spend. Is that why you guys do it?
I think there's two
And you can
reasons.
increase your prices, right? Because you look bigger or better?
Yeah. I think that there's value in everything that you do. And I think the most sacred thing that somebody can do is let somebody into their home.
Mhm.
I want to be able to have the perspective that it's okay to let our sales teams into your home to solve the problem that you need.
Yeah.
Having people in the right uniform, having people that have been drug tested, having people, all those actions, okay, that differentiate you as not a truck in a truck, a Dan in the van. I was
Yeah.
funny. They say Dan in the van when the guy that's created more brands is named
Yeah.
Dan
I
in the
know.
van.
Yeah.
So, and whether, you're utilizing an agency that's helping recreate that vision for what you want to do, I think it's about making people feel secure that
Yeah,
you're
that's such a good
legit
point.
a legit company that can solve their problems because what we've seen is that there are a lot of non-ethical contractors that have taken a lot of people's money and never returned, never finished the job, never done what they said to do. And, that's just, we don't want that image.
Yeah.
It's funny. And just to kind of take the flip side of it, we've had so many times that we've just done, we've gone in, we repaired a roof or we replaced a roof and something happened. It's construction. Something's going to go wrong, you
Mhm.
know, rip the whole roof off, redo it. And most people won't take that level of fixing the
Mhm.
problem that they created because they're worried about the short-term implication of what
Right.
the cost is going to cost them.
Mhm.
Make no mistake, the bad review is gonna cost you a lot more
Yeah.
than ripping off the roof and replacing it, or
Mhm.
fixing the HVAC system, or making the plumbing scenario be replaced, putting the new garbage disposal in. Whatever it might be, it's a scenario where if you take care of that customer, it's gonna come back twelvefold. And that's why it's so important for us to have the right perspective of what the brands represent because and I could go on an hour-long tangent on this. The brand is the most important thing. If the brand doesn't win, nothing else will.
I think that's super interesting. And so, okay, I also think it's interesting that you're saying that in order to like push the growth as fast as possible, you start with lead aggregators.
We do.
Okay, so where do you start? Like when I think of lead aggregators, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think of like Angie's and Thumbtack and like all these like fast where you get a bunch of people
100%.
coming in.
That is it. And quite frankly, um, the way that we've set up our system as far as our speed to lead,
Mhm,
okay,
yeah,
how we
that was my
utilize
next question because obviously you have to have a system in place for that.
yeah, we with our system that we utilize both live and automations
Mhm,
working together,
mhm.
okay, and allowing AI to work in conjunction with live agents, we are seeing 9 to 1, 10 to 1, 11 to 1, 12 to 1. We just went all in on it, okay?
Wow.
And there there's no differentiator between what I get and in my, my ROAS across the board, that return on my spend. It's ranging anywhere from 9 to 11 to 1 per platform.
Mhm,
I can't find enough to buy.
mhm.
And the limitation that I have isn't in the ability to bring back the return. It's the limitation of the amount of people that I have that are properly trained to go run the lead.
Interesting.
And
I think
so
that's
it's
huge. I think a lot of people ignore those lead sources because they're harder, I mean, to deal with. You have to move fast. You have to have a system in place.
I said this at your show, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Go ahead and keep trashing them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
right?
keep taking them. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep taking them all day long because they perform. In San Antonio, is there a
Mhm.
bank, right, that you can put $1 in and get 9 back?
Right, no.
There's not one, is there?
No, of course not.
Why wouldn't you do it all day long?
Yeah.
And here's the craziest part, is that, like, we are we're not really that smart, but what we're really good at doing is implementing what other smart people have done.
Mhm. Yeah.
And Lance always likes to say, "Monkey see, monkey do." We don't have to go if Dan Antonelli has done $4 billion in rebrands, well, we're gonna go rebrand with Dan Antonelli. Oh,
Right.
if Tommy Mello has figured out multiple GMBs, and guess what? We're gonna go do it. We're gonna figure that out. If
Yeah.
Bill Rossell and Lance Bachman have figured out that we got to speed the lead system with lead aggregators, why wouldn't you go do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm
it's
giving
so
you the playbook.
I think that's incredible, and just for anybody listening, if one of the reasons that it's such a great source is because they run all the ads, like, they're running the ads, they have all of the SEO, they're popping up first, so you don't have to play that game, like and
Yeah,
that's what
look
you're
at the
saying, that you guys focus on SEO second because you're leaning on what they've already created. People are already looking to them.
What's think about it, and I'm not saying you don't have, because this goes back to the point you said earlier. It's our movement is build it to sell it. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe I believe that businesses, and that's what we're doing, but I do believe a lot of businesses, right? If you're not looking to sell it, why aren't you running it so it's profitable
Yeah.
and built to hand over?
Mhm.
Or put in a situation to build a legacy business. There's a lot of companies that I've met that are gonna be legacy businesses. Why would you wanna hand over heartache to somebody else,
Yeah.
okay, of not
A
running a
problem.
profitable to
Yeah.
somebody else's problem because you want them to be successful and continue down the path. But that source for us has been we've been a champion of it for the last 3 years.
Super interesting. I love that. I think that's so good. And so, it's two things that we really haven't talked a lot about on the podcast. I mean, we've talked about rebrand. I've had Dan on here. I think the lead aggregator thing is really interesting. I'm curious, especially with you guys being so focused on EBITDA because that's how you're gonna make money off of these businesses. Um, how much so, like, rebrand is one of those, like, it's hard to say what the ROI is, right? Like, it's not specifically
It's a fixed
measurable.
cost. It's a fixed cost, no different than having, a location or a van.
Yeah,
You gotta have it. So,
right.
why don't we set it up the right way on the foundation when we build it out?
I'm curious though, how much you invest or put in your marketing budget for social or for in-person events or for these other things that we know are really, really great for standing out in your market, but they're not gonna drive top line revenue from a place that you can track it.
No, I mean, there's a lot of aspects in looking at assistant conversions across the board and how we utilize social and what we do to drive it to our site. A lot of people might say, "Hey, we're going to run with lead gen forms for social and tap
Yeah.
them into and drop them into the bookings tab." What we there's a lot of different philosophies and theories about what to do. Okay, and we're not perfect by any means, but what we do is we test and target to see what works well and what doesn't. For us, that source of truth is how we set things up to properly flow into Service Titan or utilizing a Searchlight or whatever particular platform that you might look to be able to say, where's the true attribution? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of assisted conversions that come into play. My brand, when I have that brand on Angie, okay, it helps create a vision of, say, I saw that person in my neighborhood. Now I'm seeing the logo. Great.
Mhm.
They're gonna choose me in that exclusive lead model or that shared lead model, and I run both across the board. So there's never one way to say that the brand is not or not being a part of it. It is always a part of it.
Yeah.
We focus a lot in saying, okay, yes, we have to have a holistic strategy across the board, of being able to reach more like minded, utilizing our database, mining the database, utilizing that from a social standpoint, utilizing both paid and organic strategies coming together, making our teams become micro influencers
Yeah, I
of
love that.
our brand across the board. I want them to go live. I want them to get customer testimonials. I incentivize our teams if they get a video testimonial, whether it be a project manager, whether it be a sales rep, whether it be a CSR, here's $150.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good.
A GMB, 100. Yelp
Mhm.
review, 100. Okay. Why? Because that aids in our sales teams being able to use social proof
Yeah.
to be able to help that end user choose us.
Mhm.
And it's really a key component across the board. So, we do a lot of other things. Like I said, we're heavily lead aggregator till we get to the point that we're in the break even model. So
Mhm.
we'll assess when we partner up with somebody, what's that break even number that we need to attain? Okay, great. We're going to set our marketing budget at 10% based upon where that number is, and we're going to run to it.
Yeah.
And then once we now have it at that number, we're gonna look to say, "Hey, are we in a growth mode? Are we in a stable mode? Are we in an EBITDA driving mode?"
Mhm.
Once we get to where we're in that trailing 12 that we know we're in a really good profitable scenario, that's when we say, "Hey, how do we run ourselves more efficient and effective while having continued growth?" And we wanna be at that 20% number, okay? And we know that over the course of time, our playbook works pretty good at getting us there.
I think that's so interesting. I think you've really shared a lot that one thing that if I was starting a home service company, which marketers love to do. So if I'm starting a home service company, I would definitely be looking at lead aggregators right now. And I think anybody listening to this, there's a lot of people who get started and even there were a lot of people at the conference that were in their first year or still in this growth mode. I think that's something really interesting to look at. And also, and we do see a lot of people out of the gate investing in Dan, honestly, which is, you know, not in their budget at all. And I think that they end up seeing a great return for that. So thinking about your brand, thinking about how you're going to bring these leads in right now, even if that's not how you're going to bring leads in at 5 million or at 10 million. So you can look at it differently, but I think that's super interesting.
Do this search. Here's an action item for your listeners. Go on Google right now. Okay. Do a search for best roofing company in San Antonio or best HVAC company in San Antonio. Okay.
Mhm.
See how the results come back. Now what I'm going to give you two different tests. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet in the top 3 organic positioning is going to be BBB. It's going
Mhm.
to be Angie, and it's going to be Yelp.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether you like them or you don't like them, and whether you're shifting your model in from a chat, Manus, Claude, whatever your particular flavor of AI is of the month, go do the same search in that platform and chat and say, hey, best roofing companies in San Antonio, right? Or best HVAC companies in San Antonio. Then once it brings back the results, ask chat, how did you compile this data? And watch what the results that you get. It's going to tell you it's based upon your Google reviews. It's based upon what you have going on from an Angie, Yelp. The things that you still see relevant in search are the things that are driving heavily right now on the
Mhm.
LMS.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing. And I have one more question just because I'm curious about it, but how are you guys encouraging or implementing AI in your companies right now?
Um, we have a saying around here. And a lot of people get concerned, Jen, and I think you've probably heard this amongst the trades that, oh my gosh, AI is going to replace me. All right.
Mhm.
Oh, as a CSR, I'm going to be replaced by, same day or, any one of the platforms that are out there. Okay. AI will not replace
Mhm.
the human element. It'll replace the human element that doesn't want to use AI.
Yeah.
Okay. And so think about the things that are tasks that you have to do each and every day, and how can you make those tasks more efficient and effective that you do every day, that
Mhm.
something else can do that for you. For me, I probably get about 400 emails a day. Well, if I can have Claude go through and scrape my Gmail to tell me what are the 10 most important things that I need to focus on, and here's the follow up, why wouldn't I utilize a tool to make me more efficient? We
Yeah.
actually brought in a company, okay, to as for LB Capital is to say, hey, how, what do you know about prompt engineering?
Yeah.
What is it that you know how to set up in projects within your chat? How do you know, you create different workflows that will allow you to be more successful? Um,
Mhm.
you know, the number one thing that I said as being a sales and technology company that sells roofing is finding great people. Okay. How
Yeah.
can I make that efficiency for my recruiters to go through the screening of applicants that I utilize social to get
Mhm.
more applicants for what we do? I have people telling their story.
Mhm.
Yesterday, I have to share this. We have a guy in Planet Roof. He started 12 months ago as a canvasser, knocking doors.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday, because we have a equity incentive program that if you do $1.5 million and you're trailing 12, you get a half a point if we sell that company.
That's awesome.
We had a guy go from canvasser to a $500,000 in 1 year, and now he's a partner in the organization.
That's so cool.
It is cool, and
Yeah.
it's something that's different than other companies. So everybody's rowing the canoe in the same direction. Um,
Right.
the answer to your question is the efficiency of what we do on a daily basis is what we look to focus on as far as how do we use AI. We utilize it in our speed to lead process
Yeah.
from text messaging to ring lists to email marketing. And then once the customer engages back with us, that's when the live agent gets back into it. So we're constantly pushing how do we better utilize AI?
Mhm.
We're still a limited bandwidth, and what we have to do because there's so many things you could be doing that not
Right.
one thing is any different than the other.
Yeah. That's so good. I feel like we could talk so much more, but we are coming to the end of our time here. So at on this podcast, this is the Key to Growth podcast, and I end every episode by asking our guests, what is the key to growth?
People. Taking care of your people and living with a little bit of gratitude
Yeah,
is the things that help us propel our organization.
I love that. So good. All right. So if people want to connect with you, or even feel free to share more about, I know you guys have a conference coming up as well, and about Build It to Sell It. Where can they go to find more information?
You can find me, Bill Rossell. You can go on Facebook. I'm not an Instagrammer. I'm a little old fashioned in that way. You can get me at Bill at LBCap. Shoot me a text message. I'll give my phone number. I don't care. 610-955-2991. Call me. Shoot me a text. Tell me you want to have some questions about what we're doing here. Go to buildittosellit.com. It's our website. You'll find some good content out there about what we do. We're a little bit crazy, and it's been a pleasure to be on the show. Hopefully that your listeners gain something out of the time we spent together.
Thank you. So good. I appreciate your time today.
All right, have a great day.